Welcome back to another episode of the Pickle Pulse. I am your host, Brian Green, and today we are going to talk about a new company on the block, a company called Beatnik Pickleball. So Beatnik Pickleball is out of Atlanta, Georgia, and they have a couple of really cool paddles that I'm not really allowed to talk too much about. They've sold through, called the Air Blade and the Space Blade, which are Gen 3 power paddles. I've got to play with them. They bring everything that they say they will. There's just making a couple of tweaks to the overall performance and feel of the paddles. They're going to re-drop them, and then I'll be talking all about them as well. But before I can do that, I wanted to talk about their value paddle, which is called the HyperBeat 1. So they actually have two different colorations of this paddle. This is the HyperBeat 1. There's also the HyperBeat 2, which has orange, but I like the purple. And the first thing that I really noticed about this paddle is the overall graphics are phenomenal. I am really psyched on that. And you'll see I added a little bit of Thrive weight to the sides of this one. So I'll talk about that a little bit as we get into the performance aspects of this paddle. But before I get too heavy into the HyperBeat, I wanted to give you guys an idea of what you're going to see the next couple of weeks coming out, because I've got some fantastic new paddles, some really cool stuff that I'm excited to talk about. The first is Nexus Pickleball. This is their Pro Star, really cool, titanium face, Gen 3 power, foam core. I'm really excited to talk about this and should have it towards the end of the week. And then also Gamma has released two new airbenders. The RCF Airbender 10, which you'll see is very thin, definitely power in, very, very light. And that paddle will be dropping on September 1st, along with its sister, the Airbender 13, which you can see, again, I've added a little bit of weight to the sides here. These paddles are really light, fast in the hands, tons of fun to play with, and I'm excited to bring it to you. But not to get too ahead of myself, the HyperBeat is what we're here to talk about. So let's talk about it. The HyperBeat is a thermoformed T700 raw carbon fiber paddle that's 16 millimeters thick and has a hybrid shape. The weight comes in at 8 ounces, and it has a twist weight of 5.80 with a swing weight of 113.75. So it's a fantastic, what I would call all-around paddle, airing towards the lighter side, which is why you saw that I added 3 grams of lead tape to each side at the 4 o'clock and 7 o'clock part of the paddle. It has a 5.12 inch handle, and the paddle length is 16.33 inches with a paddle width of 7.67 inches. It's a honeycomb core, and like I said, it's 16 millimeters with a foam injected guard. So a true Gen 2 paddle. So the reason I wanted to bring this paddle to you guys' attention is this is a Gen 2 paddle that comes in at $129 retail. And with my code PULSE10, you can save 10% off that purchase, getting it down to about $108 or so. The beautiful thing about this paddle is a true Gen 2 performance paddle, which means that it's a 16 millimeter paddle. It has a larger sweet spot because of the foam injected walls. It has a T700 face, which is going to give you the spin that you're looking for. So let's talk about the pop and power on this paddle. The HyperBeat is a classic 16 millimeter thermoform paddle. It has a large sweet spot. It's very consistent. It is certainly an all-court paddle, leaning a little more towards control, because as I played with it for a week or two, I noticed that the resets were really easy to hit. My dinks were very easy to hit and consistent. And because the paddle was so light, it felt great in my hand. The power is not overwhelming. Again, I always use the power spectrum of a 1 being a Selkirk Lux and a 10 being a Gearbox Power Pro. And I'll put the HyperBeat right out of 5. So it's going to be something that'll be very consistent for you, but isn't going to overwhelm your competition. If you're looking for a power paddle, this certainly is not the one for you. On spin and control, the HyperBeat did excellent. I was getting a lot of bend on my balls. I could control it very, very well and hit the spots that I want. If I had to guesstimate the spins, I would put it anywhere between 1,700 and 1,900. Again, I don't have a way to test the RPMs, but I will say that I did not miss playing with other paddles as I played with this. And all the guys in the video that you're watching are playing with $200+ paddles. Minus Sean, I think he's playing a Grooven, which those are around 135 to 150. And finally, the playability. I wanted to talk to you guys about this paddle because if you're in the market for a paddle around $100 and you want something that's going to last, that's made really, really well, that is something that you could go and play singles or doubles with. If you're a power player or a control player, I would see this as a paddle that you could put in your hands and very quickly become accustomed to it and have a ton of fun playing with your friends out on the courts with it. The graphics are fantastic on this paddle, and this is a paddle that I could play with week in and week out, which is why I wanted to bring it to your attention. You can find the HyperBeat at beatnicksports.com, and you can find my link in the description to this video with my code, as well as a hyperlink that'll get you right to the website. I think this is a company that we're going to be seeing a lot more out of in the coming months and years, as they have some really cool tech that is coming out. And this is a fantastic paddle at an entry-level price point. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, just take a moment to hit the like and subscribe. Also, tell me anything that you think I could be doing better, if there are paddles that you want to hear about. And finally, I am always open to hearing about paddles that you love out there as well. Until next time, see you on the courts, guys.